You stop transit permit, you stop on pollution control, any law violated. So this is the greatest challenge NMDC is facing towards a model CSR employer as per DP line.
I agree such exceptions may be available not only in NMDC area in Bastar, but elsewhere also. The new system, as per the draft rules and section 135, makes it further vulnerable. In fact, in Schedule 7 of Companies Act 2013, there is a provision that you can contribute to Prime Minister Relief Fund or some such community development funds. And Chhattisgarh government has been the first to create a Chief Minister Community Development Fund, and they have issued a notification that all the companies which have taken any facilitation from the government in their area should contribute 2% to this Chief Minister's Community Development Fund. So whole of CSR is going to the fund. And all the private sector people are talking that the best way is to just write a check at the year end and put it in Prime Minister Development Fund. Finished. CSR is done. And under section 134, the declaration will be, we have contributed 2% to PM fund. And enough, everything is ends. Because nobody will ask questions. No income tax, no audit, no problem. If you start doing good work, then first you will have to face a lot of problems in selecting agency, in selecting the program. Then there will be questions asked. Income tax will say, no, this is not income tax exempt. We don't agree. Then audit will say, though, you have diluted the concept of this CSR, so we don't accept this as CSR. This is your working capital expenditure for your business. All kinds of problems will come. People always have the propensity to go through the shortest route without any problem. So I foresee there are problems, and that is why I feel that we have, whatever we have written to MCA may really help public sector. But individual cases, these exceptional collectors or other things, the best thing done is to convey to DPE, because we have the wherewithal to navigate through this kind of individuals and this kind of behavior, and we can help you.
Okay. So we are extremely grateful to Secretary Rawat for a very enlightening talk. There's so much that he has said, because it places me in a false position to talk about public enterprises or make any comments, because he's heading the ministry, heading the department, and there's so much that he has done in the course of his 40-year experience. Now, actually, I have a feeling, I have a theory that nobody in this country knows this country fully. So whenever you listen to people of this experience, there is so much more that you feel that you have to know about this very complex country, very diverse country, very huge country. And so it's been very educative, sir, for whatever you said. And we are extremely grateful to you for what the time that you have taken, the trouble you have taken. And he had no notes, and he spoke extempore. So that speak of the quality of the kind of work that he has done all through. I have only one short point, and that has to do with something which I saw on the 24th, just 2 days ago, in the Hindu, which carried a report that just 20 of the major public sector undertakings have a cash surplus, have a corpus of something like 160,000 crores. I hope that number is correct. Now I find that there are something like 90, if you add up all of those Maharatnas, Navaratnas and Mini Ratnas, and I do not know what will be the total sum of money that they have in their kitty. Of course, government is always keen on cornering these funds, and the public sector enterprise chiefs also will be looked upon as great achievers if their dividend contribution goes up. But my short point has to do something like, how do you grow the inner strengths of an enterprise. For that matter, any technical firm, any firm, any corporate entity which is engaged in technical activities. Sir, I'm speaking like an academic. Maybe I'm saying something which is not doable, but I feel the key lies in how much you invest in education, in research, and in development. Normally they say R&D, but I would like to say R&D. And I have a plot here, which I don't want to take your time to explain. This plot is actually made by a UN committee, and is published in a UN report, which tries to find a relationship between the per capita income, what the individual earns in a country, and that's what actually contributes to total GDP, as a function of what they call innovation index. Now, innovation is a term which is much bandied about in this country. Everybody would like to talk about innovation. But this is a very insightful analysis, and they break up this innovation index into two parts. One is the human capital index, and the other is technology capital index. And of course, each of those can be broken up further into various elements. But the point that I want to make is, India it's a correlation of all countries in the world. And we are not up there. We are somewhere 25% of the way in that plot. I feel that public sector enterprises have a role to play in taking our country up that scale. So if you look at the industry share in R&D, first of all, the total investment in research and development in our country is much smaller than many other countries, many other developing countries. I'm talking about South Korea, Finland, so many other countries, as a percentage of their GDP. But if I want to give you the absolute numbers, there's a staggering disparity. US invests something like $400 billion annually. China is investing $300 billion. And I would like to round off what India invests. This is 2011 figures, is about $40 billion. First of all, our total investment is small. And look at the industry share. The industry share for United States is 70%. For China, it's 38%. And in fact, it's rising very rapidly. And for India, it's 23%. Actually, it's improved significantly in the recent decade. So the only group of companies which can show the way forward, according to me, my simple-minded analysis, are the public sector enterprises. The private sector enterprises always are profit motive, and I have had the opportunity to interact with some of those top people. They are always looking at the market, they are always looking at the stock market, and they say we are responsible to the investors. But public sector enterprises, I think, in fact, this is the strength that they have. This is the strength that these people have, that they can actually take decisions as long as the government is willing to support them. So if the PSCs, public enterprises, decide to invest more in research and development, in education, I think we'll become more prosperous. That's the sincere feeling I have. But it's not easy. It's not easy. How do you invest? How do you go about investing? I do not know. The secretary said that we're going to meet in January for CSR. I don't know whether it can be part of CSR. But if you can bring an element of investment in education and also in research as part of CSR, maybe there is something which PSCs can do more freely. I'm not aware. Maybe even otherwise, there can be a policy element. So I was, since Dr. Mishra asked me to come here, I was reading something like an autobiography of a great chief of one of the public sector enterprises, SAIL R&D. He was senior to me in Banaras Hindu University. He left his teaching job, joined the industry, Hindustan Steel, went to Germany, trained. In fact, he trained, he was very lucky to spend some time in Austria, Linz, and actually spend some time with the inventor of the L&D process. I mean, this is LD process of steel making. The point that I want to make is a very well trained person, very well educated person, and finally came back and joined the industry. Of course, continued to be working for the industry, rose to the position of chairman SAIL. And he says in his book, I reviewed his book at his request. He said there, the first thing, in fact, he had two objectives when he became chief of SAIL. One of those is relevant to what I'm trying to say. He said that I will see that R&D receives importance. And that's how RDCIS in Ranchi came up, the R&D Center for Iron and Steel Industry. And he also goes on to say that R&D does not receive the importance it deserves because it does not directly contribute to production tonnage or the financial results. If you look at the annual reports of all these enterprises, what prominence, what attention do we give to this? I feel that should change. Only one more point that I wish to make is that during the time that Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister, he had assigned Secretary Council to PM. As part of that, he appointed a committee to look at BHEL. So we had the great opportunity of looking at BHEL in those days, in the mid-80s, in depth. And we recommended, our committee recommended, that the R&D director, chief of R&D, should be a director on the board. I do not know whether this this device of an R&D director to become a member of the board has contributed to the fact that BHEL is probably doing better in R&D than any other of those companies, equivalent companies. But be that as it may, I feel that this is some reform that we have to bring about, and we don't hear about the importance of R&D. And I would like to add education. That actually it can produce results. It can produce results, definitely produce results. And there's no doubt about that because many other countries have demonstrated this. Finally, I want to make one observation, that there are 7 Maharatnas. And of the 7 Maharatnas, if you take away SAIL, all the 6 are related to energy. And look at the state of energy in this country. Whatever may be the source of energy, it may be coal, it may be oil, it may be gas. Look at the state that in which we are. Or it may be nuclear, renewable. For renewables receiving some importance now. But one comparison I can make knowledgeably, if I compare the institutional framework in those 6 energy related companies and the Department of Atomic Energy, with which I'm very familiar, no comparison. No comparison at all. The number of people in R&D, the quality of people, quality of institutions, huge. And that's because we owe it to Dr. Homi Bhabha. Now, people criticize DAE, people criticize DRDO, okay, but there's so much contribution that they have done. Look at DAE, we are able to design a 700 megawatt pressurized heavy water reactor all on our own. Design, install, operate, maintain. And it's not a trivial achievement. We are building breeder reactors, which are again advanced technology. And very soon, probably, in about less than 2 years, you will see a prototype fast breeder reactor going on stream, generating about 500 megawatts. It's a huge accomplishment. We have operated a thorium reactor. We are building a thorium reactor, and many people think that thorium is the energy source of the future, and so on and so forth. So I do not see equivalent accomplishments in terms of indigenous technology development in other Maharatnas. I am not fully knowledgeable, sir. You can correct me if I am wrong. Look at coal. We don't have clean coal technology yet. We have been talking about it for a long time. And I sincerely believe that this is a situation which is crying for attention, crying for reform. And our secretary has already accomplished quite a bit in terms of governance, in terms of so many other areas. It is very educative to listen to him. If there is some kind of a policy measure that you can conceive of, which forces the public sector enterprise, which they can easily afford, I was thinking that if it's 200,000 crores corpus, you take 5% out of that, it means 10,000 crores of investment in education, research and development. In-house, I'm not even asking that dole out. I'm not saying that dole it out to so many other people. In-house R&D, with yourself, like SAIL R&D. In fact, SAIL R&D should do much better than what it was envisaged to do. But what I'm saying is in-house R&D capability, if can be built up to that investment. And this requires, I believe, a policy initiative, which our secretary, I can very clearly see, is in a position to achieve if he is convinced about it. So thank you very much, sir, for very valuable talk. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your presidential remarks, sir, stressing on the importance of education in R&D and especially on the responsibility of public enterprises in taking the country forward. And at this juncture, I take this opportunity to request our President, Professor P. Rama, to present a memento to our Honorable Chief Guest, Shri O.P.Rawat, as a token of gratitude and respect. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to take up the most pleasant job to propose the vote of thanks, and I deem it my privilege today. On behalf of the entire fraternity of IPE, I extend my profuse thanks to our esteemed guest, Shri O.P. Rawat, Secretary DPE, for his very intriguing and eloquent lecture on 21st century challenges of public enterprises in India. Right from the time he traced down the intricacies of lawmaking and implementation to presenting the current state of public enterprises in terms of his belief and I should say the motivation to believe from within, and in terms of capacity building, your thoughts have been truly awesome, and thank you so much for that. Sir, I must just express here that your very valuable quantitative time has just turned qualitative time for us, and thanks for this precious time.